So, what up, fam? This is another episode of Uncle Bo TV. I am CuZo Smith. Man, this is another great episode. I got a friend of mine, just a very, very humble guy. I got my brother here. Welcome, man. Faniel, Pradel, come, what's happening?
Yes, sir.
Up.
Yes, sir.
Man, so like how are you, loving life right now as far as as far as like certain decisions that you're making and certain milestones, like how are you feeling right now?
Absolutely. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good right now. Um, like I was saying, man, so me and my wife were on the journey to kind of find a new home. Right now we're in an apartment. And we recently got married in October 24th. And so really, really love that, and we're excited about that. And so I think with each decision, whether that be, honestly, whether that's career wise, whether that's relationship wise, whatever that looks like, each step comes with a new chapter, right? So for us, um, the wedding came first. We doing that and trying to learn how to live life in this new version of our relationship. And now it's like, all right, now let's get a house. Like now let's make another big investment that is not just us relationally, but now a fiscal it's a fiscal investment. This is like money
Yep.
on land, on a property. There's financial there's a financial weight that comes with this, man. Like, so what are we gonna do when it looks like this house? And knowing also, kind of like with our relationship and our marriage, this one thing is the beginning of, years and years of, growth and value. And what does that look like along down the road? Are we gonna rent this property at some time if we get one, 10 years from now, whatnot. So yeah, man. So currently in life, that's the new chapter right now. But overall, man, just trying to eat. Got an audience member. They're not reading the sign correctly.
Yeah. What happens is like when you have nieces, there's no limit to what they could do. You know what I
I get
mean?
it.
Especially like when it come down to production, they don't care about that. It's
That's
just
right.
live, they on top of it. So
Hey,
so I
I
can't
get it.
even
I
blame
get it.
her, man. I can't
I
even
get
blame
it.
her.
I get it. But yeah, man. Outside of that, man, just trying to live life as best as we can. It is life is already hard enough as it is, but man,
Yeah.
you put on some hard characteristics, like as I'm sure that you've noticed and have pointed out, being a black man in America is not a very easy task, let alone being American. So yeah, man, there's just a lot of stuff that comes with it, but overall, trying to find the good in everything, but also trying to combat the negative things that try to take place. You feel me? So I think it's good to be positive, but at the same time too, you got to be real, and you got to pinpoint the negativity that can be around, that can be brought to the table and whatnot. And so I think those things work hand in hand. You gotta, yeah, let's be positive, but at the same time, let's be real. Let's be real. Let's point out the injustices. Let's point out negativity, and let's work. Let's work to make things better every day. So,
Absolutely. Because I mean that's the thing. Because we often get told that we complain a lot, right? As
mhm,
black people, we're told we complain so much. Why can't you just get over it? Everybody has equal opportunity, and that's the problem. There's no such thing as equal opportunity for us.
mhm,
Even when we get the job, we just feel like, okay, it's either we were second picked or we got to work hard as hell to even maintain this job that you wouldn't even, you know what I'm saying? It's just the fact
true, yeah,
of like when we get the job, it's like they're on our neck about it. You feel what I'm saying? As
mm,
far as like making sure the bar is set very, very high. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? You don't go at other candidates like that, but I just feel like we are just very picked on. You know what I mean?
mm. I've noticed, and obviously, I think the entire world has been, um, I want to say awoken, but I think It's like one of those things like you know the thing is an issue, right? It's like you throw all your dirty clothes in the closet, you know it's in there. But the thing is the stench hasn't affected you yet. So you're like, yeah, whatever. I'm doing my thing. But once
Yeah.
that smell gets to you, now you can't avoid it, right? And so
Mhm.
I think for a long time there's been a system in place that obviously um, favors uh, some rather than others, right? And so, but that only lasts for so long until someone notices something. Some cages get rattled, some feathers get ruffled, whatever that might be. And now it's time. Some people are talking up, and they're like, "Yo, there's a system in place that a lot of people are feel comfortable with. How are we going to change that? Because most of y'all have been too comfortable with this, and the ones who are not comfortable are the ones who the system wasn't made for. That's
Mhm.
like and that's the reality. So how are we going to step up? How are we going to change that up, man? How are we gonna like, because again, the system was never, bro, it was never made for us. It was
Hey, you feel
never.
how it is.
So that means how do we break that down? Not renovate, because you can't. It's like, imagine someone saying, let's renovate a cage. Let's put some throw pillows, let's put a
Mhm.
curtain, put some carpeting, you put some AC. Oh, it's gonna be nice, but it's still a cage. It's
Right.
still a cage, and that's what it was created for. So how do we break the system down? Like tear it down. So break the bars, melt it down, and create something new. So that it can be there can be true equity. That there can be a true system that works for everyone. Um, it's a cool gesture, but the people who are on top, the people who the system works for,
Mhm.
they having it, and so they're going to do anything and everything to make sure that's in place. But I'll try not to get too preachy.
Hey man, hey, you hitting that right on the money. I needed to hear that.
Yeah,
And
man, we out here, bro. We out here.
but that's the thing, and I feel like it starts with youth. You feel what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
from I'm talking about like 6, 7, 8. You know what I'm saying? That's really where
Mm-hmm.
we start to see most of our trauma. You know what I'm saying? As
Mm-hmm.
Black people, and it's like, what would you say? Like around that age. You know what I'm saying? Like, what were some of the things that you faced?
Um, I think around that age, so like what, 7 and 8, so we're in elementary school, you're vibing, not really thinking about much, but it's like I think around that age you're picking up patterns. You're seeing the way that you interact with your family, right?
Mm-hmm.
The family construct, the things that are happening around you with your mom, dad, or whatever that may look like. Maybe both dads, both moms, or whatever your family structure that looks like. Your social structure, so at school, what
Mm-hmm.
that looks like. Um, but also, I think also what you're watching, listening to, and all those other things too. So a lot of those things is it's a big melting pot of of how things are like molding you as a child. And so for me, I remember like when I was 7 or 8, um, one of the things I think one of the things I was so used to, I think I was preparing myself for, I won't say failure, but I think I was preparing myself not to do as great, right? Like I was at that age, I was like, okay, like, I'm 7, 8. I'm not worried about nothing, no big deal. Like just hanging out, I'm chilling, I'm gonna have fun with my friends, this and that. But at the same time too, I wasn't kind of pushing myself to be the best or do great things,
Mm-hmm.
which to be fair, if you're 7 or 8, you don't necessarily need to be like, all right, you need to get these A's on this on these tests. You need to know the states and this and that. It's not necessarily a big pressure, but if I think if I understood the importance as a young black male, how important that would be in the future,
Yeah.
I think that would have made more of an impact as me at 7 and 8. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think life would have been like very. I don't think it would have been super stringent or like um, what's a good word, exhaustive. But um, if if I knew as a kid growing up how how awesome I am, how special I could be, how how learning these things now are going to pave the way for something bigger and amazing. And that's not to say I wasn't told that, but I think the the frequency in which I was told that. Every now, we all had that one teacher who really did see the greatness in us, but one out of how many teachers in a school,
Yeah.
one out of how many people in our family, one out of how many people at our church. So it's those small little things that were very impactful. But man, imagine if you got a whole community saying, "Hey, you got this. You won't do great. Push to be better. Hey, I'm proud of you, man. You got a B on that test. But what's stopping you from getting an A? What's going on? What are you doing to be better?" Um, a really, really wise person in my life when I was in high school, they told me, they were like, the only person you think you are competing against everyone else to get this and get this. The true person you are competing against is yourself. Are
Yeah.
you better than yourself yesterday? And if you are not better than yourself yesterday, get to work today to get better
Yep.
than today, right? And so how are you continuously pushing yourself to be better, to do better, to be a better version of you tomorrow, So I was like, man, that would have been cool if I heard a version of that, at 7 or 8.
For real. So let's fast forward 10 years, right? Let's go like,
Mhm.
17, 18. Like, what was your life experience then? Like, what was that like?
17, 18, man. That's
Yeah.
so 17, 18, I was in Miami. For those who, if they are watching and they know, I was North Miami, man. Swamp Dogs, Pioneer.
Hmm.
And then, like I think 10 years later from that stage, I think complacency complacency was something that was kind of like we just talked about, where it was a very comfortable cage, right?
Hmm.
Um, I think I was okay with getting that C. I was okay with getting by. Okay, I don't need to be, the valedictorian. Hey, man, as long as I got this degree, I'm good. We'll
Right.
get through. Um, and I think because the cage was decorated. The cage was decorated. I was comfy. I was sitting cush. I had a hammock and I was feeling good. But I forgot that I was in a cage. I was in something that was limiting me, and it was straight up. My dog Mike, North Miami, baby. Um, and it was just limiting me, and I thought it was cool. I got enough. I've done enough, and that's good. Um,
Right.
I think that age, that was also the age, though. I will say, intellectually, my brain was starting to be like, "Hey, man, there could be more. There could be more to life." I lived in Miami my whole life up until then. Around like 19-ish, I moved up to 1920-ish, moved up to Tallahassee for school at Tallahassee Community College and FSU, and so it was there. I was starting to think, man, I think there's more. There's more. There are more people out there. There are more places to visit. There are more experiences to experience. There's more to life than what I have seen, and so around that age is when I think the light switch kind of turned on, where I was like, okay, let's go find out what else is out there.
Right. Okay. So I heard you mention, FSU. You know what I'm saying? Seminoles.
Yeah, man.
So what was it like, being black in that kind of environment? Because I
Right.
really want to know. You know what I mean? Because I asked my friend before, the difference between him attending the HBCU and the PWI. You know what I'm saying? And he explained it so perfectly. You feel what I'm saying? So, what was your experience like? Just being a black man there.
Right, right. So I was a part of a college ministry called the Wesley Foundation, and so the Wesley Foundation is through the United Methodist Church, and so I was there through a connection at a camp that I worked at in Warren Willis, um, and it's excuse me, named Warren Willis in the Leesburg area, and so I grew up in the church, and I was around people who were church going folks and whatnot, and I was connecting with them as well. And so the Wesley Foundation already had a ton of friends established there, and so having those friends and being connected with them, it was super great, man. That was cool, and I was, I was a part of a community of people who, loved God, who was going to school. We were kind of in that same boat as far as life experience. Like fresh out of high school, most of us had traveled, Tallahassee. You have a large majority of high schools that are in the area, but a large majority of those students come from all around Florida, whether that is West Florida, Jacksonville, Orlando, and South Florida, which I was included in that number. And so as I was up there, the community was great, but at the same time too, there was always a little bit of a difference. There was always a little bit of a difference that I could tell, because again, I was in a community that was majority white, you know, and a lot of communities around America are kind of fixated on that because again, that is the norm for most communities, right? And so often I found myself in the position where I had to kind of, adjust and kind of be in those communities. Now, to be fair, and you know me, bro. We ball together on Saturdays or whatnot. I adjust, man. I love people. I love interacting with humans, man. I love learning people's names, getting to know what they do. If you're a human, you got value, and if you got value, you are worth the investment. So that's how I feel. And so for me, it was an easy adjustment. I would just, people were around me, just got to hang out and whatnot. But it always did feel different if I did connect with someone who was a Black person, who was at FAMU, right down the road, having
Yeah.
friends and people who are connected to that. So there was always a noticeable difference. I'm sad that time passed without me taking the opportunity to finding out, well, if there is a difference, if I'm noticing the difference, what does one do about that? Like I kind of
Yeah.
like shrugged my shoulders. I was like, here's what it is, and just carried on, right? But what would it look like if the 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 differences, the I won't say problems, but I think the what's a good word? I don't know, for lack of a better word, but the differences and the absences of certain things in communities, like what if instead of shrugging, what if we truly like pondered and like, man, what can I do to make this different for real? Like, well, what's the small task I need to do to kind of step forward?
Mm.
Hmm.
I like that. I
Yeah,
like that.
man.
Because I always felt like it was like a big split between, like FAMU and FSU, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like the colleges ain't that far from each other. Like, they could be
Not
sitting
at
on
all.
the land or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, not at all, man. Like, super close. But you would feel like it was worlds apart. You'd feel like it was worlds apart. So yeah, it was very strange. And again, I haven't been back in a very, very long time. And perhaps most of that has changed, with the events that happened during, the pandemic with
Hmm.
a lot of the racial awakening that has
Yeah.
happened for a large portion of our American population.
Hmm.
But man, I hope, man, and I don't know what the future holds, but I hope there are honest conversations, not just open, because I think it's easy to have, I can have an open conversation, but if I have an open and honest conversations about what's going on, what's been going on, and what can it look like in the future, hopefully that can bring some change.
Yeah, definitely. Because, I
Hmm.
mean, I feel like, first of all, we have to, try to, I want to say the word, but it's so hard to say this word, uh, differentiate,
Yeah,
you
differentiate.
know, uh, the difference between when we go to mental health, right? Because
Hmm.
when a certain pale person shoots up a store or whatever, they immediately run to mental health, right? But
Hmm.
that kid who just so happened to go out here and maybe rob because he's not in the right situation, they never
Hmm.
go to mental health then. You know what I'm saying? They'll just say he's a criminal
True.
and he's robbing, because
Hmm.
he's black. So I feel like it should just be like the same, not the same, but it should just be more pinpointed. Like it should be more focused on, you know what I'm saying, as far as that. But
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, but like what's your take as far as like mental health right now?
Well, first off, I totally agree. I think what happens when certain situations get tagged with the mental health situation,
Hmm.
um, that I believe, again, this is just me, but I believe that discredits those who are genuinely suffering and dealing with mental health issues. And so now, because you've tagged mental health issues as an scapegoat for
Hmm.
a certain scenario, so now those who are dealing with mental health issues, now they have come to a place. Excuse me, I'm adjusting this thing. My setup is not that great either. Okay, let's see. Um, now you're dealing with, now you've been pegged um with with a status that already has stigmas, right? Mental health already has stigmas that society has put on that is not just and that is not fair, right? But now on top of that, just to be like, oh yeah, mental health, yeah, I'm sorry, he just, he was just struggling mentally. That's why he shot up this school or grocery store or church or whatnot. Like, well, dang, like I know people who have mental health issues. Like that's not fair to them. Like
Yeah.
let yeah. So me personally, I believe the mental health the mental health aspect, like that, it is very much a part of a person's makeup, right? It is something that is a part of you. It is I don't think it's easy to be like, well, we don't talk about that, or they had this issue, this and that. Well, no, 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 no. Like it's something that is a part of your makeup. Although it may not be the thing that you want to tout as your most proud thing, right?
Hmm.
But at the very same time, it's a part of your journey. So for you to discredit what you might be going through or might have gone through, that's to discredit a chapter of your life. Like that is a part of your. Imagine reading a book and saying, "Yo, what happened? What happened to chapter three through seven? Where's
Yeah.
chapter 3 through 7?" Now we don't talk about those chapters, but you'll enjoy the rest of the book though.
Yeah.
But then the rest of the book doesn't have context because I'm missing 3 through 7, right? And so
Hmm.
I think a lot of the mental health um, traumas, a lot of things that have gone through people's lives, it's very much so important to be a part of their story, to not be, shoved in the closet, to not be shoved, underneath the bed or whatever. That's a part of your story. That's a pivotal and impactful part. No matter how dark, no matter how harmful, right? But it is still a part of your story that at the end of your story, when it is victorious, when it's awesome, when people can read the story of Zoe and be like, dang, that was awesome. That dark chapter, they know you were real in your story. They don't have to go online to look at the Reddit the Reddit forums about your story and to be like, well, here's the real story behind so and so's mental health issues. So that's where I stand. I don't think that's a valid answer, but it's a lot of jib jab there.
Yeah. So I remember seeing an interview. I don't know if you know who Vince Staples is.
I
He's
do not think so.
okay. So he's a black rapper, and
Mm.
he had an interview one day, and he discussed how Thunder,
Oh, right.
he says he was like black people, we feel trauma. You know
Mm,
what I'm saying? Everything, movies, music, everything. It sells trauma. You know what I'm saying? And that's how
mm,
they make most of their money, as far as like celebrities and whatnot.
mm.
So, what is your thought on that? Is it true, or would you say it's false?
I mean, I think there's a lot of merit to that. I think there is a lot of, and kind of like we talked about earlier with the system in place, right? When I say system, it's not a singular thing. I think it's something that branches out in all mediums. So in media, in movies, in our social structure, so our family, all of it. There's certain things that are structured where, um, for instance, our trauma, the things that we go through, we, I think Black people adapt so well, right? Like it's almost like a gift and a curse, where it's like Black people can endure a lot, and it's like cool, but also not cool because
Right.
the shit that black people have been through, it is tough and it is not easy. Not easy. So much so where the thought of therapy is not it's not even like it's on a list of priorities, I think, in the black community, not up there. And I think that probably has been changing throughout the years. I can definitely say that. I've considered that as well. I've been like doing some kind of like research slash shopping to see what that could look like. And but I'm very interested in doing that. But even something like that, man, like the traumas and the things that we have seen and have experienced and are experiencing, stuff like that is just like, well, there's a large community where it's like, nah, it is what it is. I mean, we're gonna do what we gotta do, but we gotta keep on keeping on. Those little phrases where it's like, hey, dust it
That's
off
so
and keep it
crazy.
moving.
It's crazy because it's damn near something that should be on a shirt. Like
Yes.
there's no
Yeah.
therapy for black trauma.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? As much as we've been through, and I know people be like, "Oh, well, it's me time." Yeah, but shut up. Anyway, it's like people have to understand it is so much stuff that people have
Right.
put black people through all over the world.
True.
We can talk
True.
about America if we want to, but let's talk about the world because it's still happening right now. You feel what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So it's
Absolutely.
just like there's no therapist that can sit down with me that can be like, yo, I relate unless you look like me. Period.
And that's it. And so I love that you said that. So that's interesting. So I wonder, could could the could the narrative change? Could there be an impact if there are more therapists that look like you and I, right?
Hmm.
Like what could it look like if there are
Can we get a
more?
book? That's my
Mhm,
thing. Can we start there? Can we get a book? You feel what I'm saying?
mhm.
Or can there be like more illustrations? You know what I'm saying? In the hospitals for women to understand what's going on with their body. You feel what I'm saying? Or men too. You feel what I'm saying? Because it's just
Yes,
like
yeah, yeah.
the other day. I want to say it was like recently. There finally is black illustration in these medical books. You feel
Hmm,
me? We
hmm.
need to know what these bruises and shit mean. You feel what I'm saying? So
Yes, I agree.
it's just something where it's just like there has to be progress in every aspect. We don't have time to keep waiting. You feel what I'm saying? Like the world gonna keep
Yes.
going regardless.
Yeah, sorry about the noise. My thing
No, you
kept
good.
flopping
You
around. I
good.
was like, F it, I'm just gonna hold the phone. Um, no, and I'm with you, man. I think representation is the first step in change, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it is not. It's not a two-step thing. I think
Right.
it's a lot of steps. But the only reason it's a lot of steps is because there is a system that is in place, man. There's a system that's in place that makes it like that, where
Yeah.
everything it takes eight more steps than something that would be as simple as being viewed in media and music and stuff, which we are, but now it's more of a forefront thing. But it takes more, right? And again, I would love it if there's a day that yeah, that there are tons of black doctors, which there are. There's more of this coming. Tons of black therapists, black realtors, black everything, right? And so, but that will not only pave the way for our generations and future generations, but for every other community and everything else that comes behind it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if the black community can be upheld and be and can create change, that's going to empower the other communities. It's not like it's just us and done. Like, man, I'm telling you, bro, like you do anything around a crew of black people, they're gonna hype you up. Black
Yeah.
people, the one group to hype you up, man. You do anything around a group of older black ladies, they gonna clap you up. They're like, go ahead, baby, go
Mm-hmm.
ahead, you're doing it. And I imagine that for our kids, man, for those of us who have kids, like that same energy for every kid that looks like your kid, that same energy for every single person that looks like you, man. And then to think about, man, me at 8 years old, what would have been different if I heard that constantly, like, yo, hey, you a king, right? You gonna do big
Mm-hmm.
things. You gonna do big things. Or to hear like, hey, every mistake is it's not a period. It's a comma, brother. It's a comma. So keep writing the story. Keep writing the story, right? So if we heard that back then, who knows? So that's why we do that now, right? Like let's make those moves now. Let's make those moves in every field, in every age group, in every aspect, man. Like, let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Hmm. Yeah, because I gotta make sure I get that quote. Hold on.
Yeah,
'Cause
man. Do it, bro.
I'm
It's all
writing this in.
it's
You know what I'm
it's
saying?
all yours, man. It's ours. You don't even got to give me the credit. As long as someone
You
else is
feel what I'm
benefiting.
saying?
That's all that matters, man.
Because like people gotta understand, it's just like the people that that's around me. I keep you guys close because it's like
Mhm.
uh people tend to fake the funk or get outside of themselves. You feel what I'm
Fair,
saying?
fair.
So
That's fair.
it's yeah. So it's like my next question to you. You
Mhm.
know, what is it like taking that next step from being just dolo man, and then now you're married. So now you have to share a mindset or, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying, compromise. So what is it like
yeah,
now being a husband? What is that
man.
like?
I'm so glad you asked that, man, because being a husband, I make sure my wife here. You hear me, Maggie? Yeah, being a husband is the greatest thing in the world. All right, cool. No, no, but in all seriousness, truly, man, being partnered, right? Having someone that you have chosen to be like, man, I'm gonna be with this person in it all, with everything through it all. It is a huge step, right? But with the weight of that also comes the joy of knowing you got a teammate that's always on your like ready and willing to be and do anything for you. Like
Hmm.
always on my side. Always like we ready to do it, we're ready to ride, and we're good. We're a team. And and one of the things, Zoe, man, I promise you, one of the things I've learned the most. I was telling someone this the other day. I learned me and Maggie, we lived together a couple of years before we got married. And I know some religious backgrounds they don't appreciate that. A lot of places, this and that. However, me personally, um, I remember having a talk with my parents. I told them, I said, look, if you are willing to purchase a vehicle, make a big time decision like purchasing a vehicle
Hmm.
without ever test driving it, I promise you, then yeah, we'll move in when we get married. If you're gonna buy a car, right?
Hmm.
If you will buy a car before test driving it, right? Before even sitting in it, I'll do it. I'll do it. And they looked at me and they're like, I mean, that's a good point. And I was like, exactly, exactly. If we are going to put that much emphasis on, now mind you, this it may not work for everybody. Some people, they have certain things that work a certain way, and that's what I would encourage. What works for you and your partner,
Hmm.
do that. All the outside noise, all the outside my community is not in my marriage. My parents, as much as I love them, they are not in my marriage. It's me and my wife. So if
Right.
Maggie is like, hey, I would prefer us to get live together afterwards, then I say, you know what, Maggie, I want to get married with you. That's what we'll do, right? So I personally said, you know what, I would really enjoy it if you and I, if we live together for at least a year. So because I think it's important for if we're going to make a big decision, if anyone's going to make a big decision, it's important for you to number one, see what this person is outside of date night, right?
Hmm.
Because it's
Yeah.
easy to take. You can dress up, you can look nice for date night. You know you're going out, you're going to act a certain way in date night, but tables turn when you come home, right? Because when you come home, you are the most real version of you.
Yes.
You are the most. I promise. I go to work and
Hmm.
you got to tighten some knots up, right?
Yeah, you
I
got to put that face
e-
on.
even driving. You're driving in traffic, although your words might be a little spicy, but you still you got to tighten up because when that red and blue come on, right? You still got to tighten up. So when you're at home, again, me personally, I think when you're at home, it's the realest version of you. It's the realest version of you. So if I'm going to marry you, if I want to be with you for the rest of my life, which is a big commitment, I
Yep.
think I should know what you act like at home. I think I should know what your cleaning habits are. I think I
Absolutely.
should know how you deal with conflict. I think I should know what your financial, how you spend money, what that looks like. And those things happen at home. That right? And I think it's vice versa for me. Um, Living with Maggie taught me more about myself than it did about Maggie.
Ooh.
It
Tell
it
me
taught
more.
me it it taught me more about myself as a young black man, as a bachelor, but now as someone who is partnered with someone. It taught me my cleaning habits, right? So now, because I used to live on my own, I didn't have to worry about, I could let the dishes pile for a week and like, bet, whatever, I'll get to it when I get to it. But it's
Mhm.
different now because now when the dishes are sitting there, I know tomorrow morning, oh, guess who gets up, who comes to work tomorrow morning, or excuse me, tomorrow after before I get to work. If she comes home to do a bunch of dishes, that's not going to be a good look, and that's going to be frustrating for her. So
You gonna
maybe
have
I
to hear it.
exactly. So now it's not just me. The way the bathroom is cleaned, right? We've had and I'll be hey IG Live. We real out here. We've had conversations about the bathroom, and I've had to be a better man about that, right? I had to be
Mhm.
conscious about that, be more clean, more aware, and more in tune with what's going on because, like it or not, I got a forever roommate. And if I
Mhm.
got a forever roommate, so that means I got to think about other things that are happening around that will also impact that roommate. But the beauty of it all is that she is doing the same for me. So whatever she is doing is also understanding that, oh, if he gets in late on Wednesday night, let me make sure I'll put this here or put that there, or I'll prepare this or that. There's no pressure. There's none of that. It's all how do we make almost essentially like a flowetry, right? Because I know
Mhm.
I'm not the only person who lives here, so I'm going to show you respect in my cleaning habits and the things I do, the things and all those little things that you don't think about when you live on your own. Whoo, magnifying glass when you have when you got a forever roommate, man. It's a magnifying glass, dog.
Oh yeah, like my boy said, teamwork makes the dream work, man. Cause
Truly, truly,
I'm
man.
telling you, it's just some things that you find your weaknesses pretty quick. You feel what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Hmm.
But but that's the beauty in it. You feel me? Because
Hmm.
my lady, she's very strong in some of the things that I'm weak at. So that's what I'm very
Amazing.
appreciative about. You feel me?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
man, you had some gems for me, dog. I didn't expect that, man.
Bro, bro, free of charge, man. Free of charge, baby. Free of charge, man. I'll say this too, man. One of the things that we've been real good about, and which I full-heartedly encourage people to do, man. I know it's not easy. It is not the most popular thing, but man, please, my friends, communicate, communicate, communicate. Talk to one another. The the hardest conversations for us have been have reaped the greatest rewards.
Hmm.
I kid you not, the greatest rewards. And the craziest thing is because we have been so communicative from early on, the hardest conversations are not that hard. The hardest conversations are not that hard.
Not at
But
all.
I think it takes, man, I think to trust, the first step to trust is transparency. If you're going to be with someone, if you're going to live with someone, be transparent, right? Be transparent, be open, be real, because could you imagine living with someone and you are not your real self?
Hmm.
Imagine living at your own house, but you cannot be your real self. Then where do you do it? Where do you be your real self? It can't be at the park. It can't be at the
Right.
library. It can't be at work. Where are you gonna be your real self, man? So like I absolutely encourage transparency, man. It's the first step in trust, bro. And once you have trust, a
Hmm.
strong a strong a heavily invested trust, no one will break it. No outside force. Nothing will break that because of the hard conversations, um, the the important time that you have to pour into each other. Those
Mhm.
things are not for granted, not for granted. So I encourage everybody, like, talk to each other. Communication. If communication is the key, don't be locked out. Don't be locked out. Keep talking. Keep talking. Keep talking.
Mhm. And love wins all the time, man. I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
Love
Mm-hmm.
wins all the time. And I'm gonna tell you what, brother, man. I appreciate you for hopping on. I already got my notes on you last week.
Hey, let's go.
Hey, look, I appreciate all you guys for sticking around, man. This is probably
Truly.
like the most I probably had sitting around, but we had a lot of positivity in here. So, man,
We
peace
out
and
here.
love, bro. I appreciate you for hopping on, man.
Appreciate you, Zoe. Hey, keep it up, man. I am extremely proud of you, bro. I think it is important for um, not only for people to pursue what makes them happy and what they love, but man, it is extremely important for them to pursue that dream inside, bro, because that's organic. That thing that's inside, bro. Um,
Mm-hmm.
bro. That's why, like, right now, I'm getting geeked up because you are pursuing that, and I think there's energy, man. There's a good power in that, and that's something that only you can control. No one can take that away because as long as you're pursuing that, you are gonna find joy in every podcast, in every editing, um, in
Yeah,
every editing session. No matter how many audience members are around, right? You doing what you love, bro. So continue to pursue it, man. Encourage, uplift the black men in your community, the black women in your community, the black kids in your community. It like uplift them, dog. What you are doing, man, it is essential. It is essential, man. I co-sign 100%, bro. Pursue your dream, man. Pursue that
yeah.
junk. Pursue it because when you do that, other people see that and then they get inspired to do the same. So do it, man. Do it.
Yes, man. Bro, I appreciate that, bro, because
Yeah,
I haven't
man.
been yet since I really received any kind of flower, but I don't take it for granted. You feel what I'm saying?
Amen.
I
Amen.
appreciate you for supporting me so much, dog. I'm
Got you,
telling
dog.
you, man.
I
I'm
got you,
definitely gonna
Zoe.
keep going, and brother, we gonna do a part two for sure. You feel what
Let's
I'm
do
saying?
it, dog.
And
Let's
what it
do it.
is that I pray that we eventually get big enough to the point where we can actually have our own like spot where I can sit down and talk with you and the other guests that come about. So it's in the
So
works, man. It's in the
I truly
works.
believe the fact that you just said it is that's step one. That's
Hey,
it.
hey,
You put
look,
it in, you put it out there. That's step one.
man.
That's
But
it, bro.
I love the fact that you took the time out, man. I appreciate you for
Of
showing
course,
up, man.
man. Appreciate you, man.
For sure. But this has been another episode of Uncle Bo TV. I've been CuZo Smif, man. Love you, fam. Peace.
All right, bro. Have a good one. Stay
Yes, sir.
blessed.
You too.
You.